Bhagavad Pravaha. So, yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam, Amalapuram. So, in Bhagavatam, so far we have discussed the overview of Bhagavatam, significance of Bhagavatam, then the summary of Bhagavatam in 1 hour, and then we have heard the first canto of Bhagavatam, and then second canto of Bhagavatam. Now we are in the third canto of Bhagavatam. In the third canto of Bhagavatam, we have divided the third canto into 5 sections, right? That is Vidura Uddhava Samvada, Vidura Maitreya Samvada, pastimes of Lord Varaha, Kardama Muni Devahutikada, and Kapila Muni's instructions. And in that, we have finished the first one. That's not we have finished. We have heard from Vidura Uddhava Samvada. And after that, we have started Vidura Maitreya Samvada. After Maitreya was sent from Uddhava, after Vidura was sent from Uddhava to Maitreya, then Vidura Maitreya Samvada has started. And in that, we have heard, how this Vidura Maitreya Samvada can be divided. That we have heard in the last session. In Vidura Maitreya Samvada, we have heard, see, the first, second, and third and fourth chapters are Vidura Uddhava. From the 5th chapter on, that's Vidura Maitreya Samvada. 5th and 6th chapter, they gave the finer details of primary creation or Sarga. 7th chapter gave the answers to Vidura's questions. And these questions were similar to Parikshit Maharaj. And today, we will be seeing about, we will be hearing from 8th, 9th, and 10th chapters. So in 5th, 6th, and 7th chapters, we have seen almost all details about the primary creation. And after the primary creation starts the secondary creation by Brahma. That should start by the birth of Brahmaji. So that birth of Brahmaji is described in the 8th chapter. After Brahmaji is born, then he would have darshan of Lord Narayana, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. So he would offer prayers to Lord Narayana and he would seek blessings from the Lord. That is the 9th chapter. After he seeks blessings from the Lord, he would start his creation, build the Brahmanda, 14 planetary systems. And there's an explanation of different kind of species that would populate this Brahmanda. All that is present in the 10th chapter, right? So 8th, 9th, and 10th chapter. And after that, details of the time are given in the 11th chapter. So by this time, the Brahmanda is ready. The time factor has been there. Then the creation will start, starting from the 4 Kumaras, and then Rudra coming from Brahma. That's in the 12th chapter. So this chunk is all Vidura Maitreya Samvada. Okay. So we have covered 5th, 6th, and 7th so far. So details of the primary creation, we have heard it. We have heard that. And to quickly summarize what we have heard last time was from the 5th and 6th chapter, it beautifully started how Vidura was saying that all the people, they kind of do actions outside in order to accumulate the happiness. Sukhaya karmani karoti loko, natai sukham vanyat uparamamba. So people tend to accumulate happiness by doing actions outside. They think that happiness can be obtained from outside, doing things outside. But Vidura says that's not the case. Actually, they think like that because they are Janad Krishnasya Vimukhat Daivat. Because they are Krishnasya Vimukhat, they are turning away from the Lord in the heart. and they're looking externally. That's why they think the happiness can be brought from externally by doing things. But by doing like that, not only they don't get the happiness, but they don't get rid of the miseries. On top of that, there are more miseries that would come up. So what to do about this? Then Vidura himself says that that's why samasta dukkapye mashuddhate harir padana smriti nivritasya samasta dukkapye mashuddhate kastrupnaya tirthapada abhidana satreshu va surabhiridyamana yah karnyanadim purushasya yato bhavapradam geharatim chinnati. When this Purushasya Yato, when the katha of Param Purusha is heard, Yakarna Nadim, when it enters into the ear holes of the ear, Bhavapradam Geharatim Chinnati, all the entanglement that is causing the misery to the people, all that entanglement is cut off. This is how they can get the happiness. Why is it like that? How is that entanglement cut off? When there is Purana, Purusha, the Purusham Purnam Krishna Katha enters the Karna Nadi, Shashraddha Dhanasya Vivraddhamana, Viraktimanyatra Karoti Pusaha, Harit Padana Smriti Nivritasya. When one hears the Krishna Katha, they are doing Haripadana Smriti. They are thinking the lotus feet of the Lord. They are thinking and meditating upon the lotus feet of the Lord as they are hearing Krishna Katha, Bhagavata Katha. That's what we should be doing. That's what Vidura is telling us. So when there is Harir Padana Smriti, when there is Smriti, Chintana of Harir Pada, lotus feet of Lord Hari, then Samasta Dukkapyayama Shuddhate, all kinds of miseries, Ashuddhate are vanquished. This is how the happiness is gotten. Not by looking outside, becoming Krishnasya Vimukhat, and trying to do things outside, expecting that it would give us happiness. It doesn't happen like that. How it happens is, Yakarnanadim Purushasya Yato, when we hear Bhagavata Katha, and when it enters into the heart, and when there is Harit Padana Smriti Nivritasya, when there is meditation or absorption in the lotus feet of Lord Hari, what happens? When the Krishna Katha goes and enters the heart, Swanam Bhava Saroruham, Salilasya Yadhasharat, whatever impurities that we are holding in the heart, the greatest impurity of Aham Mameti, I-ness and minus. That's the first impurity. That's why in the Sri Sikshashtakam also, Cheto Darpana Marchana. That is the first thing that happens. That's the first impurity. I-ness is the impurity, not the positivity, negativity, not like that. The I-ness and minus impurity goes away. So, Salilasya Yadhashara, when we hear the Krishna Katha, when it enters the ear holes, and we hear with such rapt attention, Sasraddha Dhanasya Vivraddhamana, when we hear with that rapt attention and faith, then it goes into the heart. Then there is Harir Padana Smriti Nivritasya. There is meditation of the lotus feet of Lord Hari. And then what happens? Swanam Bhava Saroruham, Salilasya Yadhasharat. Then the impurities that are sitting in the heart are washed away. And then what happens? Samasta Dukkhape Mashuddhate. That's how all the miseries that are resulting because of the I-ness and minus, which is causing Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, everything, the whole cascade of miseries is cut off. Just by hearing about Lord Hari and then thinking of the lotus feet of Lord Hari in the heart. So, like that, there was beautiful conversation between Vidura and Maitreya there. And then after that, so the conclusion is, our happiness cannot be accumulated or obtained by turning away from the Lord and doing things outside to accumulate the happiness. Rather, it is about hearing from the Lord, letting it come from into the ears, contemplation, let it get into the heart. Let bhakti get into the heart from the brain. And then when the impurities are washed away, then there is automatically sarva samasta dukkapyam ashuddhate. That is how we get happiness and we get rid of the miseries. This is what Vidura says. And after that, we have heard about the sense devatas, how they were praying to the Lord. Their sense devatas, they are the devatas that control our senses, like Surya Deva, Indra Deva, like that. So our remote is in their hands. So they are the bosses of our senses, indirectly. Lord Krishna is the boss of everything, but they are the representatives. So our remote is in their hands. And what are their prayers? They are like, oh Lord Hari, your lotus feet are like umbrella. We are having all kind of tapas. And your lotus feet are like umbrella that can get get us safe from the rains of these miseries. And your lotus feet not only give us the shelter, they are the source of knowledge, they are source of the memory. And they also say how by hearing the Krishna Katha, there is Vairagya Saram Pratilabhya Bodham. One would obtain Vairagya Saram. The culmination of the detachment is attachment to the lotus feet of Lord Hari. Yeah, Vairagya Saram Pratilabhya Bodham. Bodham is intelligence. Intelligence, knowledge, realized knowledge. Yeah. So how by taking shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Hari or doing bhakti to lotus feet of Lord Hari, these things can happen. And also, not only that, but they will head back to the spiritual realm. Akunta Dishyam. So they would head back to the spiritual realm. So that's why the sense devatas are saying, that's why we want to take shelter of your lotus feet, Lord Hari. These are the prayers of our sense devatas, in whose hands is our remote control. If they are saying their prayers to the lotus feet of Lord Hari, what is it that we are doing? If we are contemplating of what to do, what not to do, we already see that our bosses, the sense bosses, they are already seeking shelter there. So if they are doing that, what do we do? Yeah, with all our heart, with no doubt, we would want to seek the shelter of Lord Hari. We have heard that also. That was in the 5th and 6th chapters. And in the 7th chapter, when Maitreya Muni says, when Vidura says, asks the questions, Maitreya Muni answers, how this body is more of an illusory product. The problem is not because of the body, but attachment to the body, aham mameti. And then if this is the problem, how to get rid of it? That answer Maitreya Muni gives. He says, if aham mameti is the problem, then Harir Gunanuvadam. Yeah, when we hear the gunas of Lord Hari, then that would get rid of the aham mameti. We have just discussed that, right? So he gives a solution also. He tells what the problem is and he gives the solution also. Then Vidura says, oh, this is so wonderful. You have said where the problem, the root cause of problem is aham mameti. And aham mameti problem aham mameti is, this is mine, it is me, this is mine, that I am in the center. Everything is revolving around me. So that is aham mameti. I and mine. What does Bhakti Yoga do? it shifts the focus to Krishna. Krishna becomes the center. So everything is Krishna's, everybody is Krishna's. Now the formula is right. When a conditioned jiva is in the center, how can a formula be right? All the universes will not revolve around a conditioned jiva. It's an illusion. Formula is wrong. That's why all the problems. So what's the correct formula? It is Krishna's. Everything is Krishna's. Everyone is Krishna's. He is the center. Then that's a perfect formula. Then sarva samasta dukkha premashu dakte. Then all the problems are gone. Then Vidura says, oh, this is so wonderful. I have heard this all. I want to come from this I-ness minus samsara to Krishna samsara. I want to get rid of this aham mameti contamination, and I want to be purified, to be in the world of Krishna, Krishna samsara. For that, what do I do? He answers to his own questions. He says, for that to happen, for the theory that I have heard from you, which is sounding so wonderful, for that theory to come into practice, I have to do one thing. That is, yassevaya bhagavata kutastha madhutvishaha ratiraso bhavet tivra padayo vyasanartanaha. This is the key formula. For me to go from my world, I world, to Krishna's world, somebody has to take me to Krishna's world. Who is that? The representative of Krishna. Krishna Kripa Shri Murti, Shri Guru. That's why first my world will turn into, my samsara will turn into Guru samsara. Because Shri Guru, now I am in the world of Shri Guru. I belong to Shri Guru. Yeah. And Shri Guru will give us the entrance into Krishna samsara by engaging us in this service of Lord Krishna. This is how the aham mameti is washed off, and practically the I-ness minus is gone, and we think and we do keeping Krishna in the center. This is how the theory of what was heard will come into practice through bhakti yoga by serving yassevaya bhagavata, the spiritual master, the Bhagavata, right? And we have heard what is the meaning of the service of Bhagavata. What does it mean to serve spiritual master? This part is important, and it will come again in this discussion today. So we will save it there. So, but that's how Yassevaya Bhagavata, serving the Bhagavata spiritual master. He is the transformer from theoretical knowledge to bhakti in practice, bhakti in seva, right? Theory to action, philosophy to seva is through following the instructions of Shri Guru, seva of Shri Guru. That we have heard. That's all from the last katha. And the continuation of that is when Mahatma Vidura hears that this is so wonderful, please go on. Can you tell me more about, now that you have given details of this primary creation, can you tell me more about how Brahma has taken his birth, and then how did he create this Brahmanda, and how did all these jivas, they got populated in Brahmanda? Would you please give more details about that? That's what Vidura asks. And this is how we are entering into the next chapter. I think the 8th chapter, right? So starting the 8th chapter, Maitreya Muni says, yes, now I'm going to continue to speak Bhagavatam. And this Bhagavatam, I'm going to show the PPT. This is wonderful. So we can be with Maitreya Muni and Mahatma Vidura. Want to open, yes, that's 3.8. Are you able to see this? No? Can see it?
No, Mataji.
Yeah, I'll share it. Okay, so Maitreya Muni, he starts to speak. I'll continue to speak Bhagavata. So, this Bhagavatam is the solution of all miseries. We have just discussed that, right? How is Bhagavatam solution to all miseries? This is like this. Each time this a Bhagavata speaks, it's a different flavor of the same sweet. And sometimes there are different sweets also. But sometimes it looks like it's the same sweet, but a different flavor. We have discussed the summary so far. Now it is coming out in a different flavor. Please see. What does Bhagavatam do? Soham ranam kshulla sukhaya dukkham mahatgatanam viramaya tasyam pravartaye bhagavatam puranam yadah sakshat bhagavan rishibhyah. Soham ranam. What to do with these conditioned souls? Maitreya is speaking. These ranam, these people, shulla sukhaya, for little happiness of the mind and senses and their false ego. That's only little bit. For that little happiness, dukkham mahadgatanam, they are entering into this mahad dukkham, ocean of modes. They don't realize that. Viramaya tasya, in order to mitigate their miseries, pravartaye bhagavatam puranam. This Bhagavata Purana is being given. Yadaha sakshat bhagavan rishibhya. Sakshat by Vedavyasa. So this is what all these sages, they are trying to mitigate our miseries. We don't realize that. We are running after shulla sukham, temporary, a little bit, flickering happiness. For that, we are getting entangled in karma. To pull us out, these Bhagavatas are giving the Bhagavata Katha, giving us the information about Bhagavan. And then he says, this Bhagavatam was first spoken by, there are many speakers of Bhagavatam, including Lord Shiva too, but here in this context, this Bhagavatam, how did Maitreya Muni hear the Bhagavatam? That's what he's saying. He says, first, Lord Sankarshana spoke this Bhagavatam, and 4 Kumaras headed by Sanat Kumara, they heard this Bhagavatam. They traveled from the Satyaloka and came down to where Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is there, and he was lying on the Sesha Sai on Sankarshana. So because they came from that planet to this planet through Ganga, their hair was wet. That was the description in Bhagavatam. In any case, Sankarshana spoke this Bhagavatam to 4 Kumaras. And these 4 Kumaras, they spoke this Bhagavatam to Sankhya Muni. Sankhya Muni gave this to Parasara Muni and Brihaspati. And from Parasara Muni, I heard this Bhagavatam. There you go. I am reciting this Bhagavatam. Vidura, Mahatma Vidura, please go ahead here. This is the solution of all miseries. I will now tell you about how Brahma is born. Dear devotees, today's Katha, 8th and 9th chapter. How Lord Brahma is born from Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. What were his attempts? How did he become successful? And what were his prayers to the Lord? And what were the blessings of the Lord? These 4 things, they are very pertinent to us. So as we hear what is happening to Brahma, we will look and see what we can learn from them. Yeah. Let's see the birth of Brahma. Here, by this time, primary creation has happened. Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu has entered the Brahmanda. Right? So, all the 13 elements, remember? Karya Srishti, Karana Srishti has happened. Mahatattva, Ahankara, mind, 3 of them. Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, Panchabhutas, Tanmatras, 20 of them. right? Yeah. So all these 23 elements, they are there in Brahmanda, and now Garbhodak Sai Vishnu has entered into Brahmanda. What happened now? So all the jivas that were there in Brahmanda are now in the Garbhodak Sai Vishnu because he's pervading all through the Brahmanda. So here, when the Garbhodak Sai Vishnu, when he glances, so all the jivas that were there in him in the Brahmanda, they come out through his navel as a lotus bud. And it is described here that in the bud is Brahma. Okay. So this Brahma, he is in the lotus flower. And then he looks around in the four directions. He has no clue of where he came from, what this lotus is meant for. So that's why Lord Brahma, he ended up having 4 heads, right? Because he looked in 4 directions. And there's one more explanation also, that he was reciting the 4 Vedas. So he has 4 heads, but he was clueless of who he is, why is there a lotus flower, where he has come from. Inquisitive. He was inquisitive. He had questions. So what did he do? He went through the stem. He was tracing down. If this is where I'm sitting, let me trace back and see where my origin is. So he goes through the stem, passes through, and then comes almost to the end of that stem. Even then, he wouldn't get any answers to his questions. At the very end, he sees this chakra, Kala chakra, that's there in the hands of Lord Vishnu. Because of the influence of the chakra, there is an element of fear, right? And an element of destruction that is induced by the chakra. So Brahma heads back from there. He just didn't feel right. So he heads back. He traces back to where he came from, goes back to his lotus. By this time, he has realized that his inquisitiveness, answers for his questions are not going to be obtained by his speculative, interrogative efforts. He hears this word tapa. Yeah, he hears certain words which actually means 2 syllables of Sanskrit, ta and pa put together, and the meaning is to perform as austerity. So he understands that. Based on the instruction he has received, he performs austerity for 100 years, his 100 years. And only after performing this austerity, he will get the darshan of the Lord in his heart. Brahma could see the Lord. And what was the darshan? Until now, we have seen that Brahma was inquisitive. He was making his own efforts to the questions, to get the answers for the questions he had. Jignasa. He didn't get any answers. But how did he end up getting the answers now? It is only because of the tapas that he had done. So for us also, we will see that Brahma had darshan of the Lord. For us, the implication for us here is, those who may not have taken up bhakti yet, or just inquisitive, just to know the answers. Yes, they might be knowing the answers, the inquisitiveness can go on for some time, but that will not result in anything solid to cross over this material ocean, right? For a solid and serious result, for a solid, tangible result, we need serious effort. Serious effort and the commitment that comes along with it. That is tapasya. Yeah. So for us also, for us the tapasya is, once we have realized that the purpose of the life, it can be understood and can be implemented by taking up the process of Bhakti Yoga, then the process of Bhakti Yoga itself is a tapas, right? Austerity. And especially for us, if we have to go into a little more detailed part of it, our tapas can be divided into two parts in Bhakti Yoga. Yeah. Remember, we were connecting the points now. The Guru Seva, Yat Sevaya Bhagavata. What is that Guru Seva? Shri Guru gives us Harinama, right? That Harinam Seva. And Shri Guru gives us the instructions of how to serve according to the propensity that we have. So he engages us in the Seva according to the talents and propensities that we have. So Seva, right? So Harinam Seva and Seva. Seva to who? To the Vaishnavas around, right? So Harinam Seva and Vaishnava Seva. These are the two parts of our tapas in Bhakti Yoga. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura said, if one does Harinam Seva, that 2 hours of bhajan Harinam Seva, and then Vaishnava Seva, the 22 hours. Inside the japa Harinama, outside the japa is Vaishnava Seva. When this Harinam Seva and Vaishnava Seva are done, then the tapas is complete. This is our tapas, our austerity on a day-to-day basis. What did he say? If this is done, when Harinam Seva is done and Vaishnava Seva, when they are done, this will give Krishna Prema. How to obtain Krishna Prema? Krishna Prema is obtained by the Harinam Seva and Vaishnava Seva. This is from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura. So if we are doing our tapas with the Harinam Seva and Vaishnava Seva, then we get the result of that Prema Bhakti, Krishna Prema. Yeah. So that Krishna Prema is just not obtained without our doing tapasya. So here the tapas is to do the Harinam Seva properly and to do the Vaishnava Seva properly. How can I do that properly? I have to hear how to do it first. This is where Acharya's role comes to guide us, to instruct us. Do the Harinama like this. All the Acharyas have said that. See, you have this Sharanagati, you have this Sri Sikshashtakam. This is how you do the Harinama. And if you are following this, Nam Namakari Bahudani Sarva Shaktis. First of all, in the first verse of the Sri Sikshashtakam itself, all the glories of the Harinama are given. The very first thing, Chetodarpanamajna. And to the very end, Sarvatma Snapanam. All the glories are given there, right there. And they're telling you how to do it. So if we exactly follow those instructions of how to do the Harinama, then the Harinama Seva is well done. And then Vaishnava Seva. How to do the Vaishnava Seva? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura said, all the Vaishnavas are the paraphernalia of the worship to Lord Vishnu. That itself is a very packed instruction. And then we fluff it out and then try to follow them. Yeah. So knowing how to do this particular tapasya of Harinam Seva, Vaishnava Seva, the knowledge, hearing from the Acharyas, first step. Second thing is under guidance, as we get more clarity, deliberately, voluntarily doing it step by step, day after day. This is our tapasya. And as we do that tapasya, what happens? This tapasya is a cleaning process, another nivritti. What happens when we take a very dirty pot, a kitchen pot, which is all really greased, and we start washing it? It is not that first the dirt goes away and then, okay, now the dirt is gone, now the shine will come. It's a demarcated nay. Anartha nivritti, it's not like, okay, after the whole phase of anartha nivritti, line, and now the Nishta starts, and then lime. And then after that, Ruchi starts. It's not a linear process like that. They happen simultaneously. For example, if you're putting water in the deep freezer, right? As the water gets cold, it solidifies to ice, right? So it is happening simultaneously. In the same way, when we are doing bhakti and when we are getting rid of the anarthas, as we are washing that kitchen pot, as the dirt is being washed away, we see the shine come through. Whatever the shining, however the shiny the pot was before, we see that come through. And as the shine is coming through, we will start to see our own reflection in the same kitchen pot that was so greasy before. But now that all the grease is gone, we will start to see our own reflection on the shine of that kitchen pot. And the same way bhakti is like that. As the anartha nivritti is happening, our bhakti is also getting steady. More unsteadiness to steadiness is gradually happening as the dirt is being washed away. And during that process, the drops of ruchi are given here and there. And we will feel very enlivened with the droplets of ruchi coming here and there. And we just continue that process. And that is our tapasya, right? So when we do the Harinam Seva like that, when we do the Vaishnava Seva, as instructed by the Acharyas, with this tapasya, we get this result of our bhakti coming to, it gets more steadier, and then ruchi comes in. Yeah. So that when that ruchi comes in, ruchi rati comes in, then that means attachment to the lotus feet of the Lord, service to the lotus feet of Lord Hari. All that is also happening. First by droplet, and then drops, and then pond, and then river, and then ocean. That is ocean of Krishna Prema. So that's a gradual process with deliberate steps under guidance in the light of Acharyas. That is our tapasya. Okay. Brahma's tapasya is over, and he is seeing the darshan of the Lord. So now we will go into the description of the rupa of the Lord. We heard about Nama Rupa Guna Leela, right? Now the next few verses are meditative verses. So far, the Brahma's journey is more of an instructive one for us. Now the next few verses are meditative verses on the rupa of the Lord. And we are hoping that these meditative verses become more prominent in our thoughts than the chaos that generally occupies our mind. This is the purpose of hearing the Bhagavatam and absorbing in the guna and rupa of the Lord. So we will hear those meditative verses of the Lord. So Brahma, he got the darshan of the Lord. How was the darshan? After all his tapasya, he got darshan. When he opened his eyes, he first saw a big white lotus-like thing. And then he soon realized that's not lotus, but the bed, Seshasai, the serpent bed of Sankarsana. And on that serpent bed is Garbhodak Sai Vishnu lying down. And the jewels on the head of the Sankarsana, they are glowing. Yeah. And after that, Brahma saw that Garbhodak Sai Vishnu, he was from this end of Brahmanda to that end of Brahmanda, everywhere. So he was looking like a big coral mountain, beautiful coral mountain. And on that mountain, generally on the mountains, they have beautiful gardens. So on Garbhodak Sai Vishnu, the long garland that he was wearing, it looked like the gardens on that beautiful coral mountain. The flower garland of Lord Hari. Garbhodakshaya. And on the mountains, there are jewels too, right? So on this transcendental mountain, like transcendental god of Lord Hari, the jewels that he was wearing were also shining like that. And on the mountain are herbs and aromatic leaves like that. So on this transcendental mountain, that's Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Tulsi Devi is also present like that. So in this way, the Lord is compared to as a transcendental mountain here, a coral mountain of corals, with beautiful gardens and the herbs like that. So this is what Brahma saw. And after that, that is, a zoom. And when we zoom, bird's eye view, and then you get closer like that. So Brahma had darshan of Bhagavan, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu like that. The whole view as a beautiful big coral mountain, and then close up. Then Lord showed darshan. Brahma cannot do the close-up thing. He cannot zoom in, zoom out. The Lord has to show the darshan. So Lord showed the overall darshan first, and then he gave darshan of his foot, one of the foot. He's Sahasra Sirsha, Sahasra Purusha, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. It is said that he had thousands of arms and thousands of legs, but the Lord gave darshan of one foot, one of his lotus foot. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said that it is actually Lord Krishna, because the description here goes very well with this foot of the Lord that is slightly bent like this. That's a detailed subject matter, but just a point to say. And what is the description of this lotus feet here? The lotus foot here, when the Lord showed that to Brahma, Pumsam Swakamaya Vivikta Margai Apyarchatam Kamadugangri Padmam Pradarshayantam Kripaya Nakhendu Mayuka Bhinnanguli Charu Patram. Beautiful, beautiful. Pumsam Swakamaya Vivikta Margai. Pumsam, the people, Swakamaya, whatever desires, Vivikta Margai, any kind of variety of desires, with all those desires in their mind, Abhyarchatam, if they worship, Kama Dugangri Padmam, this lotus feet awards all the desires for which they are worshipping. That particular lotus feet, Pradarshayantam, is giving darshan to Brahmaji. Again, Brahma cannot take darshan of the Lord. Lord has to give darshan. That's why Kripaya, Lord out of his mercy gave darshan to Brahma. If there is any progress in our bhakti, if there is any ruchi that we are experiencing in bhakti, if there is any dirt that has been washed away in bhakti, it is just because of Kripaya of Sri Guru and Krishna. So Brahma had this darshan out of mercy of the Lord. And how is that lotus feet looking like? Nakhendu Mayuka. Naka Indu Mayuka. Naka are the toe nails. Indu, they are like moon. Mayuka, rays. So the white toenails are emanating the rays, like moon rays. And what else? Binnanguli Charu Patram. The transcendental toes are like the petals of the lotus flower. That's the beauty of the lotus feet that the Lord showed to Brahma out of his mercy, where the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord are looking like beautiful petals of the lotus, and on top of those beautiful petals, the moon-like toenails are emanating the rays. That's the darshan Brahmaji had. And now comes to the lotus face. Lord gave darshan of his lotus face after his lotus feet. How is that lotus face looking? What is it doing to us? When we take darshan of the lotus face of the deity, then we can think of this beautiful thing, the darshan that Brahma had. How is that lotus face looking like? Mukhena lokarti harasmitena harispurat kundala manditena shonayitena dharabimba bhasa pratyarhayantam lasena subhrava. This lotus face, Mukhena lokarti harasmitena. This lotus face and the smile on that beautiful lotus face is hara, destroying, loka arti, the arti of the devotees. The miseries of the devotees are vanquished just by the smile on the beautiful lotus face of Lord Hari. Parispurat, and he's acknowledging us with that smile. Especially for the devotees, we want to please the Lord. That's why we want to serve. And what is the token for our service? Then the Lord smile. If he smiles, then he's pleased. Then we are like, this is so good. This lokarti harasmitena. This has vanquished all my problems, like that. So parispurat, Lord Hari, with his smita, his smile, he is acknowledging us. And that smile is vanquishing our miseries. And also, kundala manditena, he has this beautiful kundala earrings. Generally, we think these earrings will beautify a person. That is material world, right? That's why people wear the jewelry, so they can look beautiful. So here, the jewelry make the person beautiful. But what about Lord? He is ornament of the ornaments. Abharana, that beautiful verse, where he is the abharana of the abharanas. So here, he has these earrings. But what is bringing the glow here? Shonayitena adharabimba bhasa. The radiance that is coming from the Lord and the rays that are emanating from his transcendental lips, combined with the radiance that is coming from his nasa, his beautiful nose and eyebrows. A mix of all these things is radiating from the lotus feet of the Lord. So the radiance that is coming from the lotus face of the Lord is because of the rays from his lips, from his beautiful nose, and from the eyebrows. Yeah? So this is the radiance that is coming from the Lord. Oh, by the way, he has this kundala manditena. He has these earrings. It means this radiance of the Lord is beautifying the earrings. Yeah? So he is the abharana of the abharanas. Abharana of the abharanas. There's a beautiful verse that Uddhava says, how the Lord is, he is the abharana of the abharanas. Param padam bhushana bhushitangam. Yes. He is bhushana bhushitangam. He is the ornament of all the ornaments. In this way, that's the speciality, beauty of the Lord. Yeah, that's about the lotus face of the Lord. And some description about the lotus, the waist of the Lord, and the pitambara of the Lord. And this is one more description, a beautiful one, comparing the Lord to a sandalwood tree. See, on the sandalwood tree, there are snakes surrounding the sandalwood tree, and there are beautiful creepers surrounding the sandalwood tree. Like that, the Lord's body is so fragrant. The garlands are like creepers surrounding the sandalwood, and the Ananta Sesha is like the snakes are surrounding the sandalwood. In this way, the Lord is glorified as a sandalwood tree too. So this is the darshan of the Lord that Brahma had. After having the darshan, Brahma sees 5 things now. He's seeing the navel of the Lord and the water there, and the air that is agitating over the water and the sky. These 3 things, and the lotus that he's sitting, and himself. These are the 5 elements that Brahma saw. So these 5 factors, these are like the dots that are given to Brahma by the Lord. So he has to connect these dots so he can start the creation. And Brahma got it. All this is happening because he did the tapasya. Now that whatever clues are given, whatever dots are given, now Brahma could connect because he did the tapasya. Same with us. The Paramatma is sitting in our heart. Even if we are not doing the Bhakti Yoga, Paramatma would be sitting in our heart, but we cannot hear him because we are not purified yet. There is a lot of noise of mind in between, so we cannot hear him. When can that mind calm down? When can that mind be purified? By tapasya, by Bhakti Yoga. And then we can hear what Paramatma is saying. And then we can connect the dots of what Paramatma is saying. Same here with Brahma. So he saw these five elements. And then now he is enthused to do the creation. Yeah. So he looked at those 5 elements. He wants to do the creation. He starts offering the prayers to the Lord now. I have seen these 5 elements now. I want to create. So far we have seen about Brahmaji's birth and how it is relevant to us, and those beautiful meditative shlokas to give the rupa, description of the rupa of the Lord. Now Brahmaji is purified and he wants to go ahead, do the creation. Yeah? And now he's offering prayers. Here, if we recall prayers of Queen Kunti, prayers of Bhishma Pitamaha, and prayers of Sukadeva Goswami, all of them, when they do the prayers, first thing they do is they acknowledge the tattva of the Lord. And then they come to the prayers. Same thing Brahma is also doing here. Okay, so what is he doing? The prayers. Here, now that he has a darshan of the Lord, Brahma, he's a different person now. He actually saw the transcendental form of the Lord. And he goes, oh Lord, Brahman is there. It's just an effulgence. But simultaneously, your transcendental form is also there. Not everybody can realize this. Why is it like that? Because Yetu tvadiya charanam bujakosha gandham jigranti karna vivarai shrutivata meetam bhaktya grihita charana paraya chatesham na paisinata hridayamburuha swapunsam. Not everybody can see this transcendental form. First of all, Jigranti karna vivarai shrutivata meetam. They have to hear about you. That you have this form, this is how it looks like. Can somebody move this? I don't know. So first we have to hear. Sorry about that. Yeah. So first we have to hear that the Lord has a transcendental form. And how the transcendental forms look like. That's what we are hearing, right? Bhagavatam. That's what Brahmaji is saying. For us to see the transcendental form, Jigranti karna vivirai shrutivata nitam. First, we have to hear it from the scriptures. That yetu tvadiya charanguja kosha gandham. That there is a lotus feet. You have a transcendental form, and kosha gandham. The dust on the transcendental feet of the lotus feet is very fragrant. So he has a transcendental form, And the transcendental form has qualities like fragrance also. And so when this is heard, when the description of the Rupa of the Lord is heard, Bhaktya Grihita Charana Paraya Chatesham. They will start doing bhakti by Grihita Charana, accepting the lotus feet. Paraya, this transcendental lotus feet. They will accept this transcendental lotus feet and start worshipping. Then, Na Paisinata, then you will not leave them, O my Lord, because Hridayamburuhatsvapumsam, they will bind you in the lotus of their heart through their devotional service. So when somebody hears about the Lord here, like this Bhagavata Katha, then they get attracted to the qualities of the Lord. Then the desire to reciprocate with the Lord, serve that beautiful Lord, that desire automatically comes. And as we are hearing the Krishna Katha, then this Swanam Bhava Saroruham is happening. All the impurities are being washed away. So in this way, the lotus feet, the devotee holds on to the lotus feet of the Lord in their heart through devotional service. And then in that way, you will never leave them, my Lord. That's what Brahmaji is saying. That's the beauty of devotional service. When they hold on to your lotus feet, that is the beauty. But why are these anxieties happening? It's because misidentification. They are not holding on to your lotus feet, to your transcendental body. They are holding on to their body. Their body and everything related to their body. If only they can hold on to your body, to your transcendental lotus feet, then Napaisinada. Then you will not leave him. Oh, what a misery is this for this conditioned souls, that they hold their body but not your body. It's so unfortunate, my Lord. This is all Brahma is saying. Our secondary creator, he is saying all this about us. This is our halat, our situation. So, conditioned being, they hold on to their body, but not your body. Not your transcendental lotus feet, my Lord. And that's why they have all these problems. Look at them. Their body always gives them the pain. They have these urges that come out from their body. And they have this Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika effect also. These natural calamities, they also come up and hit their body. And they have urges this coming out this body. Their body gets diseased. That's about their body. And coming to their mind, that is always agitated also. In this way, they have all these miseries. Because they're holding on to their body, not to your body. You are not transcendental lotus feet. And out of this frustration, as they hold on to their body, they do different karma and they get entangled in that karma cycle, at the most end up with the jnana and speculation. But the solution is hold on to your lotus feet through the devotional service. Yeah, because Tvam Bhakti Yoga Paribhavita Hrusaroja Ase Srutikshita Pado Punsam Yat Yata Urugaya Vibhavayanti Tatadvapu Pranayasi Sadanugrahaya. This verse, this says, as they do that devotional service, holding on to your lotus feet, with whatever mood they are doing the devotional service, whatever their Ishta Devata is, whatever form that they like, Rama or Narasimha or Krishna or Vishnu, whoever they like, they are having their the form that attracts them. They are in that form and they do the devotional service. You are so merciful that you give darshan in that particular form. Yad dhiya. In whatever way they are meditating, Mrugaya vibhavayanti on you, tad vapuhu. In that way, pranayasi sadanugrahaya. You give them the darshan. You give them the anugraha. So you have a transcendental form. You reciprocate with your devotees. depending on their mood, not that you don't have a form. Yeah. So he's glorifying the Lord like this. So like this, he continues the glorification of the Lord. And he also says, you are in Yoga Nidra, my Lord. Would you please wake up now? Garbhodaksai Vishnu is saying, I'm praying, I'm offering my prayers. It's time for you to please wake up, my Lord. And please empower me. I have to do the service of creation. Kindly empower me. Kindly give me that introspection. He asks for these three things. Empower me, please. Please protect me from false ego. And please see that I am always situated in my seva. These three things are relevant for us also. Empowering. That empowerment is there in the instruction that is given to us. Srila Prabhupada said this again and again. With Sri Guru's instruction comes the empowerment. You know, like in the Vishwarupa Sandarshana Yoga, Lord Krishna shows the Vishwarupa and then says, there Arjuna sees that the Kauravas are already dead. Yeah. He sees that in the Vishwarupa, the Kala Rupa part of the Vishwarupa. And then Krishna says, you have seen that, right, Arjuna? They are already dead. So it doesn't really, in other words, there is nothing you would do here. I have already killed them. But I am instructing you. You please continue the war so you can kill the Kauravas. It's like that. Very similarly. In the instruction itself, the service is done. The empowerment is there. It depends upon how faithfully are we taking that instruction. So with the instruction comes the empowerment from Sri Guru and Krishna. Second thing is, protect me from false ego. So when a devotee who is in Sharanagati and is engaged in the seva, by the vision given to him or her, then they are automatically in the stage of dependence on Lord, which is Trinadati. So for them, they already know that they are not the doers. It is actually Sri Guru and Krishna that they are the doers. So for Sharanagata Bhaktas, that is already given. They know that they are not the doers. But here in this case, since we are just sadhakas, we want to pray that pride does not touch us when we are engaged in the seva. Pride means I am doing the doership. It's because of the illusion. These are the beautiful prayers of Brahma. He is a Mahanubhava, such an elevated soul, and he's praying like that. Please, no pride for me, please. And please see that I continue in my service without any deviation. Yeah. So please, my Lord, open your eyes. Uttaya Vishwa Vijayaya Chano Vishadam. As you open your eyes and glance upon us, it will uplift Uttaya Vishwa Vijayaya, the whole world. Chano Vishadam takes away all the miseries. And so, please open your eyes and then speak something. Madhva Girapanaya Nayata. So please gently speak something. It means please instruct me. That's what Brahma is saying. Then the Lord says, okay, Brahma, this is wonderful. I am very much pleased with you. You have asked three things. Tadastu. Empowering you. You don't have to be anxious. Because whatever you are asking has already been granted to you. This is what we were just talking. When Sri Guru or Krishna is instructing or blessing, it has already happened. It's like the blueprint is already there. We're not building on our own. It was already there, and we're just putting the pieces together like that. So the Lord says, no, don't be anxious. No problem. You got to do only two things. You do the tapa and vidya. Always, this is from Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna says, right? Mam Anusmarana Yudhyacha. Two things have to happen. Smarana has to happen. Yuddha also has to happen. Smarana is thinking of the Lord. Yuddha, here is the service. So think of me inside and do for me outside. This is taking shelter. Taking shelter means this. In this way, Tapa and Vidya gives my ashraya. That's what Lord Narayana is saying. So think of me inside, do for me outside, and you're always in my shelter. Then the pride will not touch you. As you continue to do like that, think of me inside fondly and do for me outside, you will come to a stage where you will see me everything and everything in me. I am giving you this benediction. And not only that, you will realize your own pure form. That's Swarupa Siddhi. This is all very much relevant to us too. Every instruction of that is relevant to us. If we are doing bhakti like that, thinking of the Lord fondly inside and doing for him outside, day after day, diligently, gratefully, then gradually, with the mercy of Sri Guru and Krishna, we will be able to see Krishna everywhere and everything in Krishna. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. Yeah. And the next stage after that is you will realize your own pure form, your Swarupa. That's the next stage, which happens in Ruchi and Asakti. Yeah. So, by the way, Brahma, I gave you these blessings, right? And do you know that everything that has happened to you is just because of my mercy? When you came down inquisitively searching for the answers, when you didn't find the answers, I gave you the clue to go back and do the austerity. I gave you the inspiration. I gave you the guidance. I gave you the strength. I gave you the darshan. And I am giving you the instruction. And you just have to do these two things. Think of me inside, do for me outside. That's all. Saying this, the Lord, he gave the blessings and then he disappeared. And then Lord Brahma, he started building the Brahmanda. So this one, this particular, this is what, ninth chapter, right? 10th one is very small. 10th one is very small. It's more of an informational thing. All the relishment, all the instructions that we have to receive, we have had it so far from the beginning stages. How Brahma was inquisitive, and then he had to do tapasya. And after that, after he gets purified, he had darshan of the Lord. And then we have gone to the meditative aspects of the Rupa of the Lord. And then beautiful prayers of Brahma. He actually said what our situation is as conditioned souls. Yeah. And how the attachment to the lotus feet, his body, the transcendental body, is the solution. And the attachment to our body is the problem. He says that. And then he asks the blessings from the Lord. And we just heard how beautifully the Lord has given the blessings. No anxiety. You just do these two things. Think of me inside, do for me outside. And gradually over a period of time, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, Sarvam Chamai Pashyati will happen. And you'll get the Swarup Siddhi also. Brahma gets very much encouraged and empowered, and he starts the creation. He actually goes back to the lotus, after receiving the instructions and after the Lord disappears, he goes back from the stem to the lotus flower. And this time, because of all the devotional strength he has, there was a huge wind and water that was causing so much of turbulence to the lotus. But Brahma had so much strength by this time. He could just swallow all the wind and water. And now he, the blueprint was given by Lord through his instruction. We also talked about Virat Rupa that was already there. Taking that as a basis, Brahma divides the stem of this lotus into 14. First divides into 3 parts, 3 planetary systems. The lower planetary system, middle, and upper. Yeah, middle is Bhuloka. Lower is Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. Upper as Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suraloka, Tapoloka, Mahaloka, and Brahmaloka. Okay? So like
Janaloka.
that, Janaloka and Tapoloka. Yeah. So those are there. That three planetary systems, and after dividing the 3, then 14 planetary systems. Yeah, first 3 as the middle, lower, and upper, and after that 14 planetary systems. So like that, he divides the stem into 14 planetary systems, and then there is some information about the time. Vidura asks these questions: what are the characteristics of time? Here in the material world, time causes interaction of the modes, and it causes distraction. It's a representative of the Lord's power. That's some information. And 3 types of distractions. That is the distraction at the end of the day of Brahma. The Kala is at the end of the life of Brahma. Dravya is at the end of the day of Brahma. Guna is, I wasn't really much clear about this. This is the distraction because of the modes. That's what was said. And this chart is the same thing being said in a different way. The 23 elements. The Sarga, primary creation. These are the elements of primary creation that we have heard. Mahatattva, Hankara, Tanmatra, Indriyas. We have already gone through this. Yeah, the secondary creation is that Brahma is going to create out of 3 types. One type is where the food goes from mouth and nourishment is horizontal and comes out in a straight line at the other end. This is horizontal nourishment. So all the species that has horizontal nourishment. The other nourishment is vertical. Vertical, but from a bottom to the top, trees. The other one is top to the bottom, humans. So these are the 3 types of secondary, 3 types. And the 4th one is demigods. These are the different demigods that are present in the higher planetary systems. That's it. This is the information about the different kinds of jivas that will be populating the Brahmanda. 4 types of the secondary creation, and some information about the time. That's why this is a quick chapter. Yeah. So that's what we have heard today. The birth of Brahma, the instructional part in the beginning, and the meditative part on the verses of the Lord at the later part, the 8th chapter, and the prayers of Brahma, and the Lord's blessings. All that in the 19th. Yeah, so we'll pause here. Thank you all so very